Okay, Bill, unmute so I can check your audio.
Hello.
I can hear you good.
Okie dokie.
Okay, just when you get ready to talk, make sure you unmute tonight, okay?
Oh, okay. It's on the bottom of the screen. Okay, I got it.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna mute you back.
Okay.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Gwen, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Okay, so far, thanks.
Tony, you can hear me okay?
Yep, can you hear me?
I can hear you. We are on live stream, so.
Hey, Gwen, can you hear me?
I can, Peter.
Okay. I was just gonna sit here until Bill wants help.
Yep, sounds good.
Thanks for resending that.
You're welcome.
Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Okay, Peter, how are you?
Good. I'm tempted to have a 2 heart in front of me, but I don't think it looked good on Zoom.
I know, yeah. I've been reading up on it.
Hey, Bill, you got a little sunburn on your forehead there.
Yeah, I got a lot. I had a crest from my hat.
Oh.
It's starting to bleach out a little bit.
Okay.
How you doing, Frank?
Pretty good. How you doing, Bill?
Good.
All right, I'm gonna go on mute. Hi, Tony.
Tony's muted too.
Hey, Gwen, just checking my volume.
I can hear you. I'm gonna change your name though.
Protect innocent.
I don't like your last name, Steve iPad.
That's like when you want to make a quick exit out of town.
Right?
Frank, how you doing?
Pretty good, Steve. How are you?
Good.
The needle has been changed to protect the record.
Hey, you spell my name better than I do.
Right? Probably because I have typed it how many times in my lifetime. How long
Yeah,
you been on council?
I don't know. I kind of forget.
15, 16, 17, 18.
I'll be into the 18 area, but
Yeah, you're up there. So yeah, I've been typing it for a long time.
yep. Okay, I'm going to mute myself so I don't say anything.
Okay,
It makes a lot of sense, don't it?
right?
Gwen, are we ready?
Yes, we are. I was just getting ready to tell you.
Okay, no problem. All right, you want to start?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Monday, March 15th, 2021 Vermilion City Council meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of reflection and silent prayer. I pledge allegiance
To the flag,
of the United
United
States
States of America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Well, please call the roll.
Gahan,
Here.
Brady,
Present.
Luca,
Here.
Hollivax,
Here.
Holmes,
Here.
Stark is absent, Heron,
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 1st, 2021 council meeting?
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? Gwen?
Holmes,
Yes.
Hollivax,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gahan,
Yes.
Heron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Do we have any correspondence tonight?
I don't have any this evening.
Thank you. We'll go next to the President of Council's report. There are two items. The first is that I am officially deciding that that we are going to go back to in-person meetings on Monday, April 5th at 7:00 p.m. We will be having mandatory masks as well as social distancing. For those of you who were at our meetings last summer into the fall, we did have, like, families could be together, but there had to be a separation between groups. So we will be doing that. Should anybody feel like they do not wish to come in terms of how they're feeling physically, please don't. I believe we're working on whether people can follow on YouTube. Is that correct, Ms. Fisher? Are we?
Yes, I'm not sure we can do that once we go back to normal
Okay.
meetings.
Well, we're going to try, but we are going back to in person next Monday at 7:00 p.m. Or not next Monday, the 5th.
Oh, yes, the 5th. And is it proper for me to jump up and down right now out of excitement?
It is proper, and please have Craig follow you up and down with the camera. Thank you. So the next item, we given correspondence today concerning an ordinance 2021-12. This ordinance, oh, I had it. I'm sorry, I had it right on my right here. Involves the
Port Authority.
the Port Authority going out for a loan, and I am struggling here, and I apologize.
Peter's on and Bill Yankar, so one of them.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, given that I'm at a loss for words, I'm going to turn this over to either Bill or Peter, who would like to address. Okay, is that you, Bill? I only have 5 in front of me, so they're the favorite
Yeah,
people.
Bill and Peter's on, but I think Bill's ready to talk.
Okay, Bill, if you could share with us regarding this particular ordinance.
Yes, I can. Just first of all, I wanted to say good evening to the mayor, President Heron, and members of council and department heads. My first meeting here. So anyways, my name is Bill Yankar. I'm the operations manager for the Port Authority. So we became aware that the ODNR is offering $3 million in grants towards improving local boating access. So the ODNR is setting up a reimbursement type grant. So what they're doing is they will reimburse at 75% for any launch type projects, 50% towards any marina type projects. So a heads up, the Port Authority is looking to stretch our money. So we've been looking mainly at the critical projects at a 75% reimbursement level. So what we're looking for is an approval to access the $25,000 of our $32,000 reserve account. And what that would do is it would buy us $100,000 in buying power towards any projects that fall in the category of the launch area. So the Port Authority put together a grouping of projects that would qualify, and that amounts to almost $600,000. So even though it would be nice to address more projects, we feel that going for something like $25,000 and being able to at least address 15 or 16% of what we need would be more practical and a little bit more frugal. And I guess that's basically it. We're looking for the $25,000 out of our $32,000 reserve fund. And then the city would be charged with supporting us for $75,000 until the different projects are reimbursed by the ODNR. So you would start with our $25,000 from the reserve account, and then if that the invoices exceed the $25,000, then would come out of the city coffers up to a maximum of $75,000 until you are reimbursed.
Okay.
I hope that's fairly clear.
Yep. And Peter, is there anything you wanted to say?
No, I think it's a unique opportunity to leverage up the amount of money we have with these grants that they're publishing that are available. We realize the money's been put in reserve, and Amy's done a really nice job of making sure those things are accounted for properly, and we do not want to not support her cause. We're just wondering, is it a good time right now to tap into that a little bit to capitalize on these grants, knowing full well we're going to have to get back quickly towards putting money back in that reserve account. So it's an opportunity we just thought we had an obligation to look at. Bill's identified over $500,000 of projects we need to do at the port over some period of time, probably sooner than later, like all city governments have to do. We don't have enough money for things, but we felt it was important to come to you and see if this would work.
Okay, and I guess I'll next call on Mayor Forthover. Did you have any comments at this point, or did they pretty much cover pretty much give the information that is pertinent?
I don't know if I think he's having some audio difficulties.
Oh, okay. So what I'd like to do, if that's okay, Mr. Corrigan and Mr. Yankar, if you could just kind of hang out with us, that matter is going to come up in a reading of the ordinance, and in the event any council members at that point during discussion would like to ask if you could be there ready, I'd appreciate it. Is that okay?
That'll work for me.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Appreciate your input. So with that, we'll now go to our committee reports, and Councilwoman Starkey is absent tonight, so we'll go to Councilman Luca.
Thank you, President Herron. Utilities met on March 8th. There was one item on the printed agenda, which was the replacement of the water main from Adams Street to Decatur Street. Per the service director, Mr. Valerius, and city engineer, Mr. Howard, this section was chosen as the next of the city's next priority on the city's 10-year replacement list submitted to the EPA. After discussion, City Council unanimously passed a motion to authorize Vermilion Engineering to proceed with the design services for this project. That concludes my report on utilities. And the next Port Authority meeting will be on March 18th at 6:30 via Zoom. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Luke. Are there any questions or comments from members? Thank you. We'll go now to Councilwoman Brady. Councilwoman Brady, you are on mute.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. The Planning Commission met on March 3rd. The only thing on the agenda was a parcel on Devon Drive, which had a lot split and combination on it, and that passed the Planning Commission. And it's going to be a storage unit. The Finance Committee met on March 8th. The first thing on the agenda was Lorraine County Resident Assessment, and this has to do with the Maple View Ditch Project. The residents within the city that part of the project is being billed out at $10,000. We need to decide how we are going to either pay for it or assess the residents. We turned that back to the mayor to come back with a proposal on how the administration would suggest we handle that. The next issue on the Finance Committee was the Tree Commission funding. They are asking for funding for this year. We did have some discussion about it, but in the end, we decided that with Amy Hendricks' advice to wait till June to see how our finances come out for the year, and then we would make a decision on how much we were able to donate them. But we did want to make a point that the work they do in the city is much appreciated. The next Finance Committee meeting will be April 12th, and that concludes my report.
Councilwoman Brady, any questions or comments from members? Thank you. We'll go now to Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Council President. Health and Safety met on March 8th. 3 topics. First was the Fire Chief's report. 23 incidents in the month of February were reported for a total year-to-date of 47. They completed some departmental training. They are slowly moving into the new facility. And also they had some equipment and vehicle repair that they're working on currently. Next was the police chief's report. Police Hartung reported on the award ceremony to recognize officers' work in 2020. Continued with more training of CPR and other first aid training, and also updating their policies and procedure manuals. The third topic was the Vermilion Fire Department strategic plan. The mayor and Chief Stempowski are working together to create a strategic plan for the fire department. They've brought in retired Sandusky firefighter Chief Paul Ritchie, and they're going to work together on going over again, the policies and procedures of the fire department. And that concludes my report for health and safety. Parks and Rec will meet tomorrow at 6 on this channel. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Holmes. Any questions or comments from members?
I believe the dog had a question.
You said no.
Give him a minute.
All right, the dog's questions don't count. Okay, we'll go to Stormwater Advisory did meet. I want to thank everybody who was on Stormwater Advisory Commission for serving. We are going to be back in action on the 12th of April at 6:00 p.m. at the council building. And the goal then is to iron down some specific projects. So we did get a list. We're getting working on a list of information together, try to see where we can go and have that decision made in April, so we can do something. And it looks like there's some money for some work. So that being said, we'll go now to Councilwoman Scahan.
Thank you, Council President. The Historic Vermilion Design and Review Board had 2 applications. One was for doors and entrance and windows, and one was for a bay window. Both motions carried, and their next meeting will be Wednesday, April 7th at 6 p.m. in person at the complex. And the tree commission meeting went over their watering routes. They have 3. One includes the fire station's 13 trees and trees they planted last year and some transplants. They did ask Mark Weisenberger from Parks if there are any trees that needed planting at the parks, and he stated that trees at Sherrard or Shozy each year would help, to have them planted each year. And their next meeting will be April 14th in person at 9:30. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members? Okay, and we'll go to Councilman Hollebex.
Thank you, Council President. The utilities, let me go back. Streets, buildings, and ground will meet next month on April 12th at 7 o'clock, and it will be live at the administration building or the courthouse. Contractors registration will meet on Tuesday, March 23rd. That'll be at 6 o'clock, and that will be Zoom. And then Zoning Board of Appeals will follow at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, March 23rd, and that will also be on Zoom. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Hollebeck. Any questions or comments? Any? We'll go on. Mayor Forthover, are you on now?
Yes, he was just able to get on his audio.
Okay. So we'll go to the Mayor's Safety Director's report. Mayor Forthover? You're on mute right now, Mayor.
Been that kind of day. All right. Thank you, Council President. First thing I want to report on is what I think many of us already know, which is last Wednesday, I received a call from Congresswoman Capter informing us, in her words, the good people of Vermilion will be receiving $2,040,000 as our share of the federal pandemic relief package that was passed Tuesday night. When I asked about conditions for these funds, she explained that those conditions will be forthcoming. The main intention is to help offset pandemic expenses, and I believe there's also some additional plus to be able to address infrastructure. Finance Director Hendricks has made some inquiries, and by her assessment, it appears that there are some conditions that are different from the last round, which may be that it's more than 1 year, but really a lot of this is still unknown by us and other communities. And that'll be our mission, is to dig into this and try and find out what the restrictions on that $2.04 million is. And Finance Director Hendricks and I will be sorting out these regulations, putting together a plan for this money's use to the best benefit of our residents, which we will then present for everyone to consider. Another item is that in yet another call from Congresswoman Capter, and believe me, this does not happen every day, but in another call, she informed me that the East Pier at the mouth of the Vermilion River will be repaired this summer by the Army Corps of Engineers to the tune of about $1.8 million in federally funded costs. The city engineer, service director, and I will be in touch with the Army Corps of Engineers regarding the details of this, and that they really have not been, we really haven't been very well informed of this, other than by Congresswoman Capter to say that it's going to happen. But we need to get in sync with the Army Corps before we can comment any further on what the implications are, what it'll mean to road, river traffic, and things like that. But it seems that Congresswoman Capter was on the Great Lakes Restoration Committee, and in the course of her duties did not forget Vermilion at all. I also, regarding the Main Street Beach, I have set up a newsletter for Main Street Beach neighbors, that is those who are surrounding the current Inland Seas Museum property. And with this, I will be keeping them informed of dates and developments as the demolition of the old museum goes forward. The service director will have more to report on this in just a little bit, but we are in regular communication with them, and it's also a two-way. They can ask any questions of the administration at that point that they wish. So especially with the neighbors down there, we're trying to keep a good open line of communication. And lastly, I want to say last week we talked about the Mapleview ditch, and if you wish to push this off onto a committee or something, that would be just fine. But tonight, I just want to report that we spoke with Don Romanchek at the Community Development Group and the Lorraine County Stormwater Management Group. And he sent to us a detail of exactly what the charges are by property. And as it turns out, most of the assessment is already being assessed to private property owners. And unless we do something otherwise, will continue to be, which I believe is what usually happens in cases where there's an assessment. The average property owner of about a quarter an acre will incur $2.50 a year in their ongoing maintenance cost and a one-time only $250 assessment through the county for the actual construction cost. The largest property owner there is actually Castle Realty. They have the largest piece of land. They'll be assessed $25 and change going forward every year for maintenance, and a one-time charge of $2,500. Now, we, the city of Vermilion, are the second largest property owner along that Maple View ditch renovation. And our annual will be $17 for maintenance and a one-time charge of $1,700. Now, if you ask me where that $1,700 should go, I'd like to see it go into the stormwater, simply because there is money in stormwater and there is not in general fund. But if council chooses otherwise, that $1,700 should go into general fund, then I believe we'll need to scoot the budget up a little bit to accommodate that amount. Other than that, the assessments will just run on unless we send out a letter saying otherwise, which is that we want to take it all on. But right now, the assessments are supposed to go to the property owners along that ditch. And I believe that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions or comments from members? Okay. Thank you, Mayor Forthover. Mayor, did you hear the part where Bill Yankar and Peter Corrigan were talking about? Okay, talking about 2021-12 is the ordinance coming on for first reading
Right.
tonight, involving the Port Authority. I just want to give you an opportunity if you had any comment at this point on that matter or no.
No, I'm kind of learning this as we go along here too.
Okay. All right, thank you. Fair enough. Okay, so we'll now go to the Service Director's report. Mr. Valerius.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last Wednesday, the city engineer, the building inspector, and myself had a pre-demolition meeting with the contractor for the Wakefield House and Museum. The proposed schedule for the demolition is as follows. April 1st through the 23rd will be the asbestos abatement. April 26th through May 21st will be the actual demolition process. And then May 22nd until May 28th, they will be hauling in topsoil, seeding, and strawing the site. The city has removed and inventoried a few items from the museum to be auctioned off, including 2 leaded glass pocket doors, the glass and porcelain doorknobs and locks, and a couple of folding tables and chairs. We also removed a few items for the city's use, including an air compressor, an electric motor, a table, and an office chair. We are also in the process of moving the power source for the lighthouse, which is currently getting its power from the museum. A new electric line has been run from the pump house at the beach and will provide permanent power to the lighthouse. This project should be completed tomorrow, at which time the keys to the museum will be turned over to the contractor. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Valerius. Any questions or comments from members? Seeing none, thank you. Okay, we'll go to our Finance Director's report. Ms. Hendricks, good evening.
Good evening, Council President.
Oh, Amy, you froze.
All right, yeah, Ms. Hendricks froze. So I'll tell you what, why don't we really quickly, as Mr. Howard's here tonight, why don't we go to Mr. Howard for the city engineer's report, and then we'll get back to Amy. How's that?
All right, thank you, Council President. On March 4th, we had the bid opening for the Sunnyside Road resurfacing project. The city received 3 bids for the project. The low bidder for the project is Precision Paving, Inc. of Milan for $691,322.25. The engineer's estimate for the project was $847,230. This project is ODOT funded through the Erie County MPO with an 80-20 split. I would ask that council award the contract with Precision Paving tonight by emergency by passing ordinance 2021-11. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Howard tonight from members? All right. Is Ms. Hendricks back or is she still working on
Now,
her?
I'm going to try to call her, Steve.
Okay.
Maybe we put her on speaker.
Okay, so with that, we'll go to the law director's report, Mr. Stumphauser.
I have no report this evening, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Stumphauser. I was hoping you'd have a little something given Ms. Hendricks.
Okay,
Working
Steve.
Yeah, ready?
Steve.
Okay. Yep, so
Okay, I have Amy on the phone.
Okay, so now we'll go back to our finance director's report, Ms. Hendricks. And if you could just start over.
Can you hear us? Okay.
I have a very limited report this evening, basically joining around the appropriations for the 2021 calendar year. Those have been placed before council for the third reading. Now, there were some minor changes that were made that were sent out last week in email. None of them particularly impacted operating. And so those are presented, also provided this afternoon was the detailed breakdown of the.
Hold on a minute, Amy. Let's see if we can get you on. Unmute. Unmute.
Okay. All right. Also provided today was the detailed breakdown of where the total amount that was budgeted for transfers and advances were scheduled to go throughout the year to the various funds. And most of those are routine in nature as well. So those appropriations are before you this evening. They're due back to the county tomorrow morning. And other than that, that would conclude my report.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks. Are there any questions or comments from members? Seeing none, thank you. Okay, we do not have response to the audience tonight. Anybody like to address open to the audience?
No.
Nobody? Okay. So we now have two items, and then Gwen, do we need to put on for tonight's reading 2021-12 under new business?
Yes. Can we start with the first one under new business?
Sure. Yeah, I would
I
just.
have them all, but yes, we do need to do that too. So the reason I wanted to permanently remove ordinance 2020-44, that was a transient draft that we first had. One is because we're in a new year. And then we've also, of course, have a brand new draft. So if we would just remove it when we're ready to do transient, I'll put it on with a new year for this year at that point.
Okay. All right, why don't we take care of that now? So I'm going to make a motion to permanently remove ordinance 2020-44 from the agenda as it will be replaced with a future draft and ordinance number.
Second.
Gahan,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you.
And Steve, the next one is pretty much the same, to remove ordinance 2020-34. We're not sure we're even going to be using that through the city. We don't know at this point. But again, it was from last year. So if it does come back to us, we'll sign a new number.
Okay, and that's the dog park matter.
Correct.
Okay, so I will go ahead and make a motion to permanently remove ordinance 2020-34 from the agenda.
Second.
Brady,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Gahan,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so the ordinance was provided to us today, ordinance 2021-12. I'm going to make a motion that be put on tonight for reading.
Second,
Second,
Gahan,
yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Luca,
yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Stark. I'm sorry, she's not here. Holmes,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried. I was wondering why she wasn't answering me.
All righty, so, okay, so we'll now go to the law director for reading of the ordinances, and just Mr. Stumphauser for ordinance 2021-1. You can just do the last couple lines of that if you like, unless you feel like reading a whole bunch of numbers. So,
No, I don't feel like redoing that. It's first reading of ordinance 2021-1, an ordinance amending section 1270.01. And it's of the planning and zoning code of the Vermilion to prohibit junk buildings, shops, and yards.
we'll go to a second reading. Proceed.
This is the third reading of ordinance number 2021-8. An ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the city of Vermilion, Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-8 and declaring emergency.
So moved.
Second.
And just real quick, I believe that the necessity to get this in tomorrow, as was elucidated by the finance director, does qualify it as in the best interest of the city's financial well-being. Any other further discussion regarding the budget at this point?
Just to make note that we have spelled out the necessity pretty thorough
Thank
in
you.
the section 4 of each of the ordinances from here on out.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments regarding the budget? Okay, go ahead, Glenn.
Brady,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Gahan,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Proceed.
The first reading of ordinance number 2021-11. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter a contract with Precision Paving of Milan, Ohio for the Sunnyside Road resurfacing Phase 1 project, authorizing the finance director to make payment to said awardee in an amount not to exceed $691,322.25 and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2021-11 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Halifax,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gahan,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-11 and declaring emergency.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion regarding this?
Steve, Halifax,
Yeah, I'd just like to say congratulations to Chris and Tony and the administration. Based on the engineer's estimated pricing, we're getting this done for $150,000 less. So that's another nice job from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank,
Yes. Thank you. Precision Paving, they did a very good job on Vermilion Road, and I'm glad that they won the bid.
Brian Holmes.
Yeah, looking forward to the smooth ride down Sunnyside. So thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I just want to echo everybody's comments. Very happy with that bid. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, Glenn.
Luca,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Gahan,
yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and we have a new ordinance. Do you have that, Mr. Stumphauser?
I do have it. This is the first reading of ordinance 2021-12. An ordinance authorizing the Port Operations Manager of the Vermilion Port Authority of the City of Ohio to file an application for cooperative boating
facility grant financial assistance and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2021-12 and declaring emergency.
So moved.
Second,
Halifax,
Yes.
Holmes,
yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Gahan,
yes,
Brady,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carried.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-12 and declaring emergency.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay, does council have any questions or comments? And I do appreciate Mr. Corrigan and Mr. Yankar for sticking around. Any questions or comments from members? Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, I just wanted, we didn't have Amy, what you weren't, you weren't alive when this discussion was. Can you feed into it? I mean, have we done this before? Are you comfortable with it? With,
I just learned about this morning. So I really haven't had any chance to review it.
okay, I mean, we'll be tying up the city's money for some period of time until
Correct,
reimbursement
correct.
happens.
Correct.
So as a general, I know, okay, if you haven't looked at this, are you comfortable with the idea of doing that?
I really don't know anything about it at this point. The projects that are to be selected haven't been laid out yet, so it's hard to know.
Okay.
Okay.
Brian,
I can tell you with my dealings with projects with the Metro Parks and DNR, yeah, you do forward the money, but you do get the money back. And DNR is very good about getting that back to you as soon as they can. And again, this is a great opportunity for us to, update our marina or some launches. Obviously, it's the big thing we do here. You know, Vermilion's known for. It's a great place to launch your boat. So and come enjoy the lake. So I think if we got a good opportunity to do this, and Amy says we can do it, I say we move forward and definitely work with DNR on this project. Because again, my experience with DNR has been nothing but great experience with them in these type of projects.
Barb,
I guess the only thing that would concern me is if you decide to do a project and it's not approved, what happens to the funding? I mean, are you going to be able to get pre-approval for the projects you choose so that we'll be sure to get reimbursement?
I believe Amy has froze again.
Yeah, well, that would be more for Bill and Peter, I would think.
Peter,
Are we at any risk of not getting reimbursement?
Go, Bill, I think you should answer the question.
I would say no. The whole process is that, we can't select a project, until our board meets. We'll select those projects, we submit them. The ODNR will approve them prior to anything being done.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so there's nothing that we will select that won't be pre-approved.
Okay. Can you give us a couple of just ideas of what you're planning to do? Just
Well, sure. I mean, this may be hard to believe, but the South Street ramp does not have drinkable water. So one of the projects we might propose is to run the new water line to the Port Authority so that we have that, that resource there. Right now, all of our water is not considered potable because the way we attain it, it comes through the water or through the treatment plant, and it goes through yard frost-free fittings, and therefore it doesn't, it's not drinkable. So that would be one. We jointly use the driveway entrance between the treatment plant and the Port Authority. Because they get so many heavy equipment trucks and those trucks that they service, the whole front end of that ramp or the entrance is pretty well granulated and deteriorated. We would like to reverse that and resurface that portion. Also, in front of the actual launch docks, we've been pretty much using the city to patch a great deal of potholes, but it's getting very granular. So it doesn't, it's not really as safe as it should be for our customers that, might be handicapped, either wheelchair or, using canes, whatever. So we would like to maybe resurface a section around there. We know we don't have the money to do the entire parking lot because that's like up into the $350,000, $375,000 range. Another thing too, since I've been there for going on 5 years. We've lost nearly 6 feet of bank. And that bank is, also the area that's one of the only places in Vermilion where we could do bank fishermen. So we would like to spend some of the money maybe to reinforce the bank so that we don't continue to lose it. We're in some areas only 6 foot from the parking lot. So it's kind of a precarious situation. So that's a flavor for the types of projects that the board's going to decide on.
Okay, and those would all be, like you said, pre-approved by the.
Pre-approved before anything moves forward.
Okay, thank you.
Frank?
I think it's a great opportunity to leverage port funds. I'd like to thank our port director and members of the Port Authority for bringing this grant potential to council's attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luca. Anybody else? I would just like to say, I think it's an opportunity. I think there's enough mechanisms in place that there won't be a loss of money. And I think that working with ODNR is they're professionals and great information and great people that we have working on the Port Authority. And I deeply appreciate their willingness to answer questions tonight and with great detail. So thank you. Any other questions or comments from anybody, the administration or members?
No.
We're good?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Gwen, why don't you go ahead and call?
Holmes? Holmes?
Yes.
Hollivax?
Yes.
Luca?
Yes.
Brady?
Yes.
Gahan?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. We're good for tonight. I thank you all. Again, 7:00 p.m. on April 5th at the Municipal Complex. In case you forgot, it's 687 Decatur. We will be there. We will be social distancing, much as we did last year. And please wear your masks. If you don't feel well, please don't come. And then on the 12th at 6:00 p.m., we will have stormwater advisory. We will be making the intent is to make some decisions that night as far as specific projects. So please tune into that or come if you're interested in that issue. Then we will have all of our committees meet at 7:00 p.m. on the 12th, and then we'll have a regular council meeting on the 19th. So I thank you all. Please be safe, be kind to each other, be respectful, and have a very good evening. Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Good night. Good night.